everyone wants to know, the nation wants to know, why did you quit your media job to take up yoga?
Okay, so yeah, like you mentioned, I was with Times Now for a decade. But while I was with Times Now, alongside, I was also learning yoga. I started learning yoga around like 2008ish. Okay, that's when I joined Times Now. I've always been into exercise. So, okay, now backstory is that in my 10th standard, I had put on a lot of weight, like 8, 9, 10, because I was only focusing on studying and I had stopped all extracurricular activities. So suddenly I put on a lot of weight and all of that, and that really bothered me. It affected my self-esteem a great deal, because a lot of people say a lot of things they don't mean, but when you're at that age, it just, or any age actually, some things just really prick you. They sometimes they stay, they don't, they have a lasting impact on your mind, on your subconscious, on
Yeah.
your confidence, on everything. So that really happened to me, and I'm sure a lot of people go through that. But in a way, that kind of motivated me to get into fitness. And it was after my 10th standard board exams is when I started working out, and I started going to the gym. I joined Shamak Davar's dance classes, which I eventually continued doing for 7 years. And I also started swimming. So I started doing like a whole lot of things, and obviously, naturally, so I started losing weight. And that definitely had, a really, it kind of gave me some kind of confidence, and it made me feel good about myself, and it made me feel happier, it made me feel fitter. But yoga was never something I was interested in. And it so happened that my parents were doing yoga with my teacher, who's now my guru, Shami Gupta. So she used to come home and teach my parents, because they had, like, my dad had a frozen shoulder, my mom had sciatica. So someone recommended yoga, and that's how she came over and she started teaching them. And on a particular day, my class got cancelled. So I was sitting at home and I was watching them do yoga. So that's when Shami told me, why don't you join us, and why don't you do the class with me? So I was like, okay, instead of sitting here, I might as well join them and do some yoga. And I had like a very different perception in my head about yoga, because it was based on what I had done in school. And in school, honestly, it was not given much importance at all. Also, I had this perception, like many others still do, that yoga is meant for senior citizens, yoga is slow and boring. And since I was always into, things like kickboxing and aerobic, Zumba, those kind of things, that's not what I wanted to do. But anyways, I was like, instead of sitting here, it's better that I join them and I do some yoga. Now my teacher, who's now my teacher, at that point also, she had met me a couple of times. She knew that, I'm into this kind of workout and all of that. So she had some kind of an idea about my personality, about what kind of workout I really like. So that day she made me do some really dynamic movements, postures, inversions. Of course, because I had been working out for so long, I had that level of fitness where I could do those postures and perform those inversions. And she obviously knew that. So that's how she made me do those things. And I was completely bowled over. I was like so awestruck and fascinated that, oh my God, this is yoga. And my perception of yoga was so different. Like, it was what I thought was like completely wrong and so different from what it actually is. And that's when I realized that yoga can be as dynamic as one wants it to be. It can be as calming and soothing as one wants it to be. So while I was working in Times Now, no matter what time I got home, because obviously, when you're working for media, you have an erratic schedule. There's no fixed time that you'll come home by 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the evening. Yeah, you would know that, obviously. So I used to come home like really late certain days, like maybe 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the night. But I would
Exhausted,
still
right?
wake up. Absolutely. But I would still wake up at 5:30 and go for my yoga class, because that was something I'd never want to miss. So yeah, because I was doing yoga for so long, and of course, with practice, gradually I started making progress as a yoga practitioner. So there were a lot of things that I was able to do, and apart from that, my teacher had the confidence in me so much so that she started telling me that why don't you start teaching yoga, because she could see the progress I was able to make, and she saw that I'm really passionate about it. So that's why she was like, she started telling me this. And after that, in fact, a lot of other people started telling me, my friends would tell me that, what are you doing? You are meant to do yoga, you're meant to teach yoga. So why are you not getting into that? That's what, that is your calling and everything. But I was very scared. But the turning point was when Times Now decided to move to Delhi. And
Yeah.
I didn't want to go to Delhi. And at the same time, I didn't want to work out of a bureau in Mumbai.
Right.
And that's when I was like, okay, now I have to decide that I either get into corporate communication or I get into yoga. Now, I was scared because, of course, at that point, I was, in two minds, because it also had to be something which was lucrative,
Hmm.
which I could turn into a career, as in I could also earn some money, and I didn't want to, like, because I knew it would be difficult initially. I would have to start from scratch. So all those thoughts were like, going on in my head. And then ultimately, my parents really helped me. They really supported me. They were also initially, they were like, what, really? Are you sure? But then once they realized that, no, this is what I really want to do, but I'm scared to take that step, my parents were like, just do what your heart says. Just, and even if you make a mistake, it's okay. At least you would have tried and then realized that, okay, this is not working. And you can always go back to anything. You can go back to media, or you can do anything else that you would like to do.
When you started yoga, there was a basic level of fitness already because you had been working out for so many years. For people who are, this is for everybody because most people don't come with that background or that initial fitness level that's required. Is it a mandate for yoga? Can people who don't have any prior workout regimes also start, and how long does it take for, because what happens, a lot of times people try it initially without having prior fitness experience, and they get disillusioned very quickly. So how long is the process usually for someone to start getting more comfortable with yoga, and then for you to start seeing any progress in them?
So the most important thing is practice and patience. These are two extremely important things, and consistency. Now, when there's someone new who joins a class who has never done yoga or who has never done any form of workout, so it's absolutely okay for someone who has not been exercising, who has not had any prior experience with any form of workout earlier, to start yoga. It's absolutely fine. But the only thing is, you have to go slow. You have to start as a beginner. You have to do basics. You have to set the foundation right. Only once you set the foundation, then you can start building, then you can start making progress. And it takes time, it takes patience, it takes a lot of practice. It takes several months, and it depends actually on each individual's body, each individual's capacity, strength, flexibility level, each individual's composition. So it's different from person to person, honestly. But it's very important that people listen to their body. Most often, what happens is, people join a class, they probably see some pictures of people doing a headstand or a handstand, and for them, it's good that it motivates them to join the class. But they have to know that it's taken that person years of practice to be able to do a headstand, years of patience, and like hardcore practice to be able to do a handstand. So they will also have to go through that, and they'll have to put in that amount of practice, that amount of work, to be able to reach that level. And it's always good to make slow progress. If you suddenly try and do something in a hurry that your body is not used to, you are bound to injure yourself.
You already had in the last couple of years, you had a lot of students and you started doing a lot of classes. How has it all changed in the last few months after we've all been in a lockdown and you're not physically doing class, it's all gone online. So does it work the same way? Because even in a large class, you are actually able to walk up to people and give them individual time or attention. How does that work online?
So honestly, I have always been wary of online classes. A lot of my friends, relatives who don't live in and around Powai, that's where I used to conduct my classes before the lockdown. So they used to always tell me, why don't we do online sessions and all. I used to be really wary because honestly, when you're teaching in person, like you said, you can go and correct that person's posture. You can focus on, the minutest details of alignment. You can hold the person and correct their posture. So it's definitely different. It's a different experience altogether. But ever since the lockdown happened, obviously that wasn't possible, and it became like the norm to kind of start teaching online, and I had to kind of overcome my inhibition of teaching online, and I started with a small group of people. I was like, let me try, instead of not teaching at all. At least this way I'm able to teach people and able to continue the yoga sessions. So I started that way, and fortunately for me, in fact, for I think every yoga teacher must have experienced this in the past couple of months. Suddenly, there was this surge of people who got in touch with me from all over the world. Like, obviously, these are friends and relatives who live abroad and live some like all across India, who could not in person attend my class,
Yeah.
but they started attending my class online. So, yes, I have to give a lot more detailed instructions verbally now, and I make sure I focus on that, and I keep checking, I keep, emphasizing on perfect alignment, because that is of utmost importance, because the slightest of misalignment can lead to injuries. So I make sure my instructions are more detailed, and I try to simultaneously do the posture so they can see me as well, and then I try to look at the screen. I try to look at every individual, and I try to correct their postures. It is a little bit of a task, honestly, as compared to doing it in person, but then this is better than not doing anything at all. And this has kind of opened up a whole new world for me. I'm able to interact and connect with people who I never thought I could
Yeah.
connect with, because of geographical boundaries and time zones. But this lockdown has kind of blurred all those lines. And in fact, I have a group of Japanese kids who have been teaching for the past 2 years. So they have now moved to Japan, but even then I do online sessions with them. So it's, yeah, so we keep it going.
And I have one last question for you, Nupur, which maybe I ask on behalf of a lot of us who know you very well. So everybody who knows Nupur knows that even when she's on a holiday, and it doesn't matter whether you're in the hills or whether you're on the beach or where you've gone or you're on some deserted island, Nupur is still doing her yoga. So Nupur, do you take a break ever?
Definitely, I do, Supra. You know that. Yes, of course, I go a little crazy wherever I am. I want to do yoga. I carry my, that portable little mat that I can roll and put it into my bag. So, but yes, I do take a break. In fact, every Sunday is a day when I just relax. I don't do any kind of exercise at all, because honestly, I realize that my body needs that rest. It needs that time to recover. So for someone like me, I do yoga 6 to 7 hours in a day, because that many sessions, plus I have my own practice. So my body ends up going through a lot of workout, and it becomes very sore. So, and now because of the lockdown, it's not possible to even get a deep tissue massage or anything done. But and although that is very important if you're a yoga practitioner, or if you're an athlete, or if you're into intense workouts and several hours of workout. It's very important to get all those things done. But well, that's not possible now. But in any case, yes, I do take a break. I do rest.
I can talk to you for like hours, and most people know that. But I'm told that the video limit to hold a millennial's attention is in this duration, which is why we're going to end on this note. But thank you so much. I'm hoping a lot of people know now, very small things, but these are common doubts, about how long you can practice, can anybody join at whatever age. So I'm hoping it's managed to clear at least some doubts for some people, and I'm hoping you're able to go back to regular classes, and all of us are able to go back on our regular holidays, and that we can all go
Yes,
to a spa together.
absolutely. Can't wait for it. I cannot wait for it.
Thank you.
It was so much fun talking to you, Supra, as always.